In 2016, a new TV show hit the digital airwaves and needed a podcast.
We now return you to your regularly scheduled podcast, already in progress.
Meanwhile, at the Hall of Justice.
Okay, seriously, this is awesome when Barry says this. So the president has called for their help. I mean, how textbook is that? That was fantastic. And he's like, I mean, that would be cool if we were in a different circumstance.
Totally. Still, though, because it's kind of leading up to, really, it's leading up to the Justice League. I mean, the president, the government, they all rely on the Justice League for global threats.
Yeah, and that's what I thought. So I wanted you to confirm that I was right, because I'm not gonna lie, I'm not as heavy of a comics reader, and I didn't watch a lot of the
old cartoons.
Yeah, no, I mean, you've sent me a bunch of episodes and I've watched all of those, but yeah, I from sight alone did not pick up on the Hall of Justice tie-in until you told me it. So, but once I, figured that out, I mean, it was seriously ridiculously cool.
Have you seen a picture of what the Hall of Justice looks like from the cartoons?
Yeah, you sent me one.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there you go.
Yep, I know, yeah, as soon as you sent that, I was like, oh. I was like, that's amazing.
That's amazing, yeah.
So then I got really excited about it. But anyway.
Yeah.
So moving on, we've already talked about that is the same guy from 1951, confirmed. Mm-hmm. So he has captured our legends, and now he has all of this knowledge because it's 50, 60 some odd years later. Mm-hmm. So that seems bad. Or ominous.
Just a little bit. But this guy is still involved all these years later.
So, what do we learn? We learn that it's Barry's fault, apparently.
Yeah, holy crap.
And so this is how I feel about it. I feel like at least we are getting a consequence of Flashpoint, and at least there's a nice tie-in to his cryptic message from the future of not to trust him. Now, whether or not they're referring specifically to this instance, for the trusting him part, I don't know. Right. But it's definitely a consequence of Flashpoint, and so from that standpoint, I liked it. Now, I mean, we talked a little bit earlier about our issues with it, but, I don't know.
Well, all I can add to that is that, holy wow, that is heavy. Can you imagine the weight of it all in Barry's eyes? I just for him big time. The amount of that was more than just the world landing on his shoulders. That was like the universe landing on his soul. I really felt for Barry at that moment. And way to go, Grant Gustin, on his performance, because you could see it in his eyes, the moment of realization that it's all his fault. You saw the weight land on him, and just fantastic. Yeah.
Another Glee alum, but I have very much enjoyed his performances as Barry Allen. Mm-hmm. Exactly. I'm not gonna lie, when they announced that they had cast him, I was a little skeptical. When Flash was first starting, but, since day one, I've loved what he's done with the character.
Well, you and me both, because I am a comic book guy, and, I love the Flash, and Barry Allen is quite a bit bigger than Grant Gustin, and he has short, curly, blonde hair, very blonde, the yellowy blonde.
Okay.
So when I saw a picture of Grant, I'm like, that is not Barry Allen at all. And then when they had it down to the final three, the other two actors, one of them looked almost identical to Barry Allen from the comic books, and I was like, how could you not pick him? And just even if he's not the best actor, train him, get him to be good, because he looks the part exactly. You don't even have to do anything. And so I was like, oh my god, it's the Flash. He's my favorite guy, and I already don't like the actor they chose. But yeah, Grant has done such a wonderful performance that I now see him as Barry Allen, and I see him so much so as Barry Allen that I look at the movie coming out in a year starring Ezra Miller, and I'm shaking my head and screaming, no, that Ezra looks even farther removed from Barry Allen than Grant did when they first showed Grant.
That's true.
And I don't know if you've seen it, but I just saw the movie Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
No, I haven't seen it.
Me and Patty Spivot went to see it, and Ezra Miller is in that movie, and he's got this weird-looking Beatles bowl haircut, And he's kind of a weird, quiet, creepy guy. And I'm watching, he's got a fairly main role in the movie, and I'm watching the whole time going, this can't be Flash. This cannot be Flash. So I don't know. Anyway, yes, loving Grant Gustin for sure.
Awesome.
Tangent. Finished.
Yep. Insert tangent here.
I need another sound clip for that. Jeez.
Well, you just cut that out.
Yes. Alright, well, so we get on from that scene and we get to Cisco still being all messed up.
Yeah. Well, we find out that he's done the exact same thing that he's so mad at Barry for. He's gone back to the past, and he's like, we can't leave. We can't let them torture this alien. We've got to do something about it. And so they save him. And so by doing that, then they kind of send him on this whole spiral somehow. I mean, I guess that alerted them to the metas. I'm still not sure exactly how that worked, but... Yeah,
that's where I'm a bit confused, because the Dominators were there in 1951 originally for what purpose? I don't think they ever stated why they were there in 1951.
Just getting information. It was strictly reconnaissance, and then they were engaged by the army, and so they fought, but they left with, I guess, the information they thought they needed.
Okay, and then so what point were they alerted to the metas in 1951?
No, I don't think you're forgetting anything, because I don't remember either.
All that happened is they helped the alien escape.
Yeah, so I guess by them helping him escape and by them being there, and so because they originally captured him and he figured out, like what kind of powers they have and how powerful they are and that they could be a threat to his kind.
Oh yeah, wait a second. Steeled up and punched him.
Yeah. But then the suits show up and interrupt them and basically capture everybody. So they capture our team captures the alien, but then the suits show up and capture everybody else.
Right. And they didn't have their powers. When they helped him escape, they didn't have their powers.
No, they didn't, but he was aware of it because they took him out, and they were obviously more powered than the average human because they just decimated the average human. Yeah. So that must be what it was. And then by setting him free, he was then able to alert his people to the presence of metahumans, and then they kept watch on Earth for the next 60 years.
Right. And you had that because Cisco hung onto that communications device as well, and they were kind of like the joke in the show. He had the alien pen pal.
Yeah, exactly.
So there must be something that maybe they didn't fully flesh it out for us as viewers to see exactly how the Dominators learned about the metas, but
I think that's it.
Yeah, somewhere in there, that's how they did it. So yeah.
Yeah, but I think it was by our team going back to the past and then setting him free. I think if they had not set him free, that wouldn't have happened, but then we wouldn't have had a crossover.
Right. Still, it was nice to see Cisco putting himself in Barry's shoes to help make him realize how hard it's been on Barry this whole time. And it kind of made Cisco feel a little bit guilty on how poorly he's been treating Barry. And
yeah. Yeah, he fell into that same trap. The same trap that Barry does, the same trap that Jax does. They just wanted to make things right at any cost, not thinking about the consequences of messing with time.
Yeah.
Alright, so we kind of talked a good bit about Dr. Stein and his daughter, but I kind of I don't know if you want to talk about a few points just to kind of wrap up that whole storyline, and then we kind of get to the end here.
Well, let's talk about her, because I really, really liked her. She was just like an instant fit into the fold. Very believable, very likable. The actress they chose, she was so spot on. I felt like, wait a second, has she been here the whole time? Like, she just fit in so smoothly. It was great.
Yeah, she did. I felt like they had a good chemistry. I mean, he was appropriately awkward when he needed to be, which, I love Victor Garber. He can
He's perfect,
do anything.
Yeah. I know. I've liked him since Alias. That's how I first got introduced to him.
Oh, okay. I've seen him in a number of things over the years. I didn't actually watch Alias, but...
Oh, he plays the main character's father.
Okay.
And he's quite good there too, yeah.
For listeners out there that know Troy, don't tell them I've never watched Alias. Someone will get that. But anyway,
yeah, no, they have such great chemistry, the two of them. It was really. So I hope we see more of her. I hope she sticks around.
Yeah, I would like for her to stick around, even though it's going to cause this whole thing of now that she's an aberration, which has been even more complicated by your theory of what's going to happen with this whole Flashpoint timeline deal. So now my head starts.
We're going to just have to wait and see on all of it. I sure hope Kevin is enjoying our deep analysis and how we're just totally picking things apart to analyze it. We're dissecting.
Oh, I know. He's gonna die when he listens to this.
How much popcorn are you eating now, Kevin?
He pressed pause to go get a drink.
Possibly, yeah. But what did you want to say about her? You had a couple points about her.
Well, because this kind of rolls into these like last kind of final scenes. So I like that, she's just as smart as her dad and that they can bond because she's got a PhD in nanotechnology and they kind of have that same process of having a little temper and then trying to figure something out. And I like that they came to the same conclusion at the same time, and that was like a big bonding moment for them. It was really cute. Mm-hmm. And so now they've just like created this nanotechnology weapon that they're going to place on the Dominators, I guess, and defeat them. Like, I'm still not 100% convinced of how or why that worked. Did you understand? Like I know that it's supposed to put them into like extreme agony. I just don't fully get how that was enough to drive them all to leave Earth.
Well, I don't know if that was the only thing. I mean,
okay.
It was also on how powerful all the metas were, and they were losing the fight in that sense too. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little bit. I found it funny because they're in the lab working on it, and then it goes the next time we see them, he's running out and he's like, "Oh, here's a nanotechnology thing we created, and I've mass produced them. Throw them on all the aliens." I'm like, "What? How? Were you not just in the lab half an hour ago?" But then
that was fine too.
I just assumed since they're on the Wave Rider, they probably used that replicator machine. And
now that's a good point.
That was my way to get around it, because I'm thinking there's no way you mass produced thousands of them or whatever it was. So yeah. Exactly.
That's what I was thinking too. And actually, like my husband actually watched like the entire crossover, and he was like, "How did they make them so fast?" And I was like, "I don't know," because it's TV. Don't ask questions.
You just press pause. You just need to press pause. Let me fool Martin. He'll know.
Right? But he hasn't been watching any of Legends. He's only been watching, ironically, this season of The Flash. So the Air episode was totally lost on him. He was like, yeah, that was okay. And then when we got to Legends, he was like, there's a lot of hand-wavy things in that. And I was just kind of like, yeah, it's a time travel show, whatever. And but I forgot to inform him that the Wave Rider can mass produce things. So right. I'll have to let him know.
But we get this whole sequence leads right up into this epic battle, fight to the finish type of deal.
Yeah.
And oh my god, it was so cool. This was, again, comic book gold come to life. Just like on the Flash episode, but way, way better. So many nice little touches if you watch closely. I found the graphics suffered a little bit because there was so much going on screen, but that was okay because it was still so damn cool. I'm sure it cost a lot of money to get this whole thing out, because you got a whole screen full of aliens and these actors that have to pretend they're fighting the aliens, and sometimes I noticed even the actors themselves were computer generated. So yeah, I can't imagine what that cost to put together, but it didn't matter. There was a lot of little things that I saw they added in there, nice little touches, like steel reflecting things off his steel skin. I don't mean like deflecting things, like bullets or something. When the camera would pass by him, like in a panning shot, he would be reflecting things like a mirror. If you looked closely, you'd see the reflection of whatever it was he was facing in his skin. And I thought, whoa, that's a cool little touch.
That is cool. I did not notice that.
Yeah. And like Vixen's magic, that was a nice touch.
Yeah. That was good.
But then I thought it was cool when they had the big face off, it was that big, very Avengers-like moment where you got the aliens running from the right side of the screen and you got our Justice League running from the left side of the screen. Other than Flash, who already took off, Steel led the way. Like, they're all running in a row, and Steel just pulls away from everyone as if he's Usain Bolt at the Olympics. I thought, holy crow, he can run. So I don't know if he's faster when he turns to Steel, or he's like what it was, but he left them behind. He got like 4 or 5 steps ahead of them before they hit the aliens. It was kind of cool. It was really neat.
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That was cool.
It was.
I liked everything about it.
It was
It's
cool.
Great epic.
Yeah. Just an epic fight. A lot of stuff going on. And I mean, they kind of joked. I was in an Air Squad or Central City. They kind of joked, and I had to laugh. It was pretty funny when Vixen turned into when she used her elephant powers.
Yeah.
She uses her elephant powers, and the very next scene, the very next shot, she's doing kung fu and karate kicks and chops and stuff. I'm thinking, what elephant does that?
Well, doesn't she just take on not like the characteristics, but like the strengths of the elephant, but then she like fights in her own style? She just has extra strength and, not dexterity of an elephant, but I mean, elephants are really strong, right?
Yeah, well that's when you watch the cartoon, and I think she takes on the abilities of the animal, but she tends to fight in a similar way that the animal does. So like when she uses the rhino, I would expect her to charge through people like a battering ram. When she uses the gorilla, that's when it's hand to hand and she picks people up and tosses them around and whatever. But with the elephant, I would expect her to stomp on people. Like I would have expected her to kind of charge through them, knock them over and stomp them into the ground as she goes by. That's kind of what I mean, like taking on somewhat of the characteristics of the creature she's channeling.
Uh-huh.
So it was funny. What's that?
Said, yeah, no, she is definitely not doing that.
No. And then, I mean, after all this, right in the middle of all this happening, I mean, Oliver gets tossed off of the building like we mentioned in the beginning. Yeah. And I was like, what? Holy crap. He's falling. He's almost hitting the ground. And then Supergirl flies in and saves him.
I know. I was like, how's he gonna get out of this one? I was like, where's his,
his rope arrow?
Yeah.
Exactly. But she saves him, which is kind of nice because it created a nice moment where, she brings him back up to the rooftop and they kind of look at each other and he gives her a nod and a smile that, okay, that was the moment he needed. He now trusts her and she's okay. And she has that ear-to-ear girly grin like, yay, and off she goes, and the fight continues. So that was a nice moment.
Yeah, no, it was a good moment.
And then Sarah and Cisco are flying in on the Wave Rider, and they grab a hold of that massive alien orb thing.
Yeah, that was crazy.
And it's a little too heavy for the Wave Rider to hang on to, so she calls for Jax to come, she calls for Firestorm to come help him. And he lands on the thing, and he's trying to transmute it. But he can't. And you have Stein in his head going, come on, focus, Jax, just focus, we have to do this. And that was such a heroic, amazing moment when he's just screaming, he's getting it, and eventually it transmutes into water, and holy, what a lot of water that was, but...
Yeah.
Great tense moment and great little, Jax didn't get to do a lot in this crossover, so it was pretty cool moment for him, and I had Patty beside me and she loved, oh my god, that was so cool.
Yeah, that was a great way to bring that back.
Yeah. Cause we haven't, it's good because we had talked before that we don't want to see it too much because that could be an easy way out of everything all the time,
yeah.
so.
Yeah. And especially the whole turning things into water. He does that a lot.
Yeah, so I wonder if that, will he be able to transmute things into other materials eventually?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe just in this instance it made the most sense because they were up in the air, and so if he transmuted it into wood, you would have a giant wood sphere that would probably cause way more damage than some water. So.
Yeah, no, that's true. Good point.
But in theory, couldn't he transmute it into like air?
I guess, or gas or something.
Like some sort of gas. Yeah, exactly.
Hmm.
I don't know. Anyway.
Well, maybe it has to be liquid form. Maybe it can go from solid to liquid, but not solid directly to gas. If you remember your science class.
Form of water.
I can't believe I didn't think of that. Oh, I'm
pretty sure someone posted it on our Facebook thread at some point, because I wasn't watching it live. But I was scrolling through and I saw a form of water.
That had to be for that moment.
I think it was. It might have been Jeff.
Yes.
Jeff Gentry.
Yeah, probably was. Oh my god, that's hilarious.
It was pretty fantastic. But anyway, so you want to move into because that's kind of the end of the action sequences, but we have a couple more things here that tie out the episode. Yeah,
I got a few more points. And I think the only thing that we've got this massive fight going on, and it ended there was such a fast ending. After that transmutation, the aliens just kind of left after one fight was lost, essentially.
Yeah, it was very abrupt.
Wow, okay, they built it up so big and then boom, off they go. So again, like we were talking earlier, I don't know if it had to do with the nanotech and how many factors were combined. They just realized, okay, they're done, they can't win this battle, let's get out of here. It was a quick retreat. Yeah,
I don't know. That was my question too. I thought it was, it's comic book TV, but it seemed incredibly convenient.
Mm-hmm. I guess it had to end fast because it allowed us to have a lot of other moments coming up that we really liked, and like the first one with the president giving them the go-ahead to be heroes and
that was cool.
Save the city. Like what a great kickoff to the Justice League idea.
Mm-hmm.
That they're being accepted and it's okay and that they'll call on them when they need help. That was just a really cool moment. And then we got another great little, I called it a tri-bond with Barry, Oliver, and Kara.
Mm-hmm.
That was just a real touching little moment between the three of them, the little group hug. And it's so funny. Oliver doesn't like physical affection. He's like, no, come on, guys. No. Okay. That was pretty cute.
Nope.
And then we get to suddenly a serious dramatic moment with Stein and Jax talking about his daughter and the timeline and what they're going to do, and should they go back in time and erase her? What are they going to? And what a tough moment and a great little, just a continuing connection between the two of them that they can really confide in each other.
Yeah, I liked that. Again, we'll have to see how they end up handling it and how long they're gonna keep it to themselves. I do kind of agree with Joe's point about the secret keeping. It does.
Yeah.
It's a little grating sometimes, but.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to see, I guess, what they.
Yeah, but I did like the bonding moment between the two of them.
Mm-hmm. And then the one point that I really, really liked, because we just had our 100th episode of Arrow, was the whole callback to the entire Arrow storyline with Sarah and Oliver and where it all began. That tied it together so nice.
I know. I loved that.
Oh, well, especially for us, because we both started with Arrow, and it really has a lot of weight to it for us, and that was just a beautiful, beautiful moment. That this entire Arrowverse, Flashverse legend, it all began with Oliver and Sarah being on the boat together.
Yep.
And the boat going down in the storm.
Yep.
So, yeah, cool.
Crazy.
Very cool. Very cool. Just one point I wanted to bring in before I get to our ending point, because the ending point is just fantastic. But
okay,
wasn't it kind of funny when Mick? I think we're going a little bit back in the episode.
That's okay.
When Mick stepped in to pilot the Wave Rider, and he suddenly forgets how, and he's kind of stumbling, asking Gideon to time jump. He's like, Gideon, do that. And she's like, time jump? Yeah, that's it. I think, what's going on here? Because he was Kronos for years. He should remember how to pilot this thing. What's going on here?
Yeah, that bothered me too. Who was it that brought up the fact that Mick has suddenly forgot everything he learned?
I don't know. It's been mentioned. I don't know if it's been mentioned on our page. Probably has. Some of our feedbackers. Yeah, so it really stood out right there.
Yeah, it really did, and it really bothered me. I was like, he knows how to do that. And we know he knows how to do it because guess what he did in the premiere of this season? The fact that he was Kronos completely has been forgotten, but he piloted the Wave Rider with no problem in the premiere.
Yeah.
Has everyone forgotten that? So I don't like what they're doing with this character. They've taken him back too much to being old Mick. We needed a little bit more of a hybrid.
Well, old Mick, but had a little bit softer old Mick. They just haven't,
Yeah.
he's just lost all his training as Time Master agent.
Yeah, and I don't like that because I feel like that is a valuable skill set, and I don't think his character should lose it.
No, and I was about to defend, until you brought up that he piloted it just fine in the premiere, I was about to bring up, can we blame Flashpoint? Maybe this new timeline that Barry created, he never was Kronos.
Okay, maybe. However, he did pilot it in the premiere.
Okay.
Without much problem.
That might be something we have to revisit if we do a second summer episode and
Okay.
I go and rewatch the whole thing. We might have to remember to bring that one back.
Okay.
So now, coming to the very end of our episode, I thought, what a fantastic ending to the whole event. First you got Sarah, Diggle, Oliver, and Barry having a bit of a moment with each other, and Diggle kind of saying, Flash, you're pretty awesome. And all of them just realizing, what they just went through together. It was pretty cool. And then that transitioned to the bar scene with Barry and Oliver, the two guys that started it all, being buds, sharing a beer, talking and hanging out. That was an absolutely perfect way to end this whole thing.
Yeah.
Did you get that feeling?
Oh yeah, it was a great scene. And I think that's why some of the other elements in the episode felt rushed, is because they were trying to kind of bring everything together and kind of get us to this point. And I liked that.
I think so. And what I really liked about it was because it's Oliver and Barry that kind of started this superhero team-up thing that's going on. Oliver also didn't trust Barry in the beginning, and it's been a couple seasons now, and this really showed the point that we're at now, that Oliver and Barry are good friends, and they probably communicate and stay in touch with each other a lot more often than we see as viewers on the episodes. I think it's just behind the scenes kind of communication. They keep tabs on each other, they let each other knows what's going on, whatever. It's just, you could really see that they are buddies outside of the hero stuff completely. They're just friends now, and they can hang out and they can talk. And I think it's really good for Oliver because he needs that away from his own team. He needs that kind of friendship that's not on the inside of his Arrow team.
Mm-hmm.
And it's good for Barry because Barry sees him as kind of a mentor.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was powerful. And looking at all of the feedback and all the responses over all the Facebook pages and everything else, it's, I think, absolutely without a doubt, 100%, that is everybody's favorite scene of the entire crossover event. Absolutely everyone is loving that final scene with Oliver and Barry.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. I mean, there was quite a few powerful scenes in the Arrow episode, but this one definitely rivals it because it calls back to the fact that Oliver was now also able to experience the same thing that Barry experienced in Flashpoint. He lived effectively in an alternate reality where everything was perfect, where he had everything he wanted, and he had to give it up. So.
Such a good point you're making there, because he was not able to understand what Barry went through with going back in time to save his mom, and he got to live his perfect life. So just to reword how you just said, Oliver was able to understand that now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they both had to, I forget the exact quote, they both had to give it up, but they said, here's to not being normal, or something along those lines.
Oh yeah, it was a perfect, I think I may include that in our quotes, but it was something along the lines of, here's not being normal, but living a full life.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah. It was just a great, great moment, and all around, they could not have tied a more beautiful bow on the ending of this event. So.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Yeah, and I hope, I don't know if there's more crossovers planned for this season, but hopefully they maybe can make a couple shorter appearances here and there. It doesn't have to be a full-on, every member of every team crossover. It'd be nice if Oliver showed up for an episode just to help out or whatever, or, there's little things like that. I think it'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I'd love Felicity and Cisco to get back on the Wave Rider.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
Totally.
Very easy thing to do. Well, I say easy, but.
The one last point I will say, that I am disappointed in on the Flash side of things is with all this that was going on, Flashpoint, all these old characters coming back, they never brought back my one favorite character that was here for a short time.
Mm-hmm.
In real life, she's my partner in life, but on the show, she's also known as Patty Spivot.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Patty, and I thought they may have squeezed her in too somehow, but again, too many people.
Yeah. What's going on?
Okay, Harley, well, that covers all of that. We've got a couple of our featured segments to get to, but that was a lot of fun. What a blast to watch it and now get to discuss it.
I know. That was a lot.
That was a lot.
We had to cover 3 shows.
Yes, 3 shows worth. All right, well, let's get on to our nitpicks of the week.
Form of water.
Nitpicks. Oh dear. Well, I've sort of already brought some little ones up, and I've already alluded to this, but my nitpick was the fact that it was aliens. Why does it always have to be aliens? I mean,
where is that? That is a line out of a movie somewhere. What movie is that? Someone says exactly that. Aliens? Why does it always have to be aliens?
I don't know. I mean, but that's exactly why I wrote it that way, because it's from something, but I want to say Independence Day, but I could totally be wrong. Anyway. It's just, I don't know. Aliens are so overdone. Aliens are not my favorite sci-fi ploy. It's just not. I didn't enjoy them in Flash. I mean, I've sort of talked about this already, but I didn't like the way they're introduced. But they developed it a little bit more in Arrow and Legends, and it tied it back into the storyline, and it made it a little bit more meaningful to me. And so, I liked how they ended with it, aside from the fact that they left very abruptly. I didn't really get that either, but they had to get rid of them somehow. I don't know, it just seems so cliche. The aliens are coming to destroy the Earth, and we gotta stop them. I'm just, really, we couldn't have been a little more creative, guys. Sorry, that was my nitpick.
Well, you can't really blame them because this was a direct pull from the comic book story. There was 3 64-page issues called Invasion, Part 1, Part 2, and Part 3, and they took as much of that from that story as they could.
Well, fine. I like it.
And I think I have them somewhere. I'll have to pull out my comics to find them, but I don't remember exactly what happens in the comics, if it's the same type of story. Anyway, yeah.
Interesting. Well, that was my nitpick.
Yeah. I mean, I understand you. I just can't back you on that one because I love aliens.
I know. I'm not a big fan of aliens. That's my sci-fi nitpick.
There's a new Alien movie coming out next year, and I'm super excited for that.
I probably won't see it. Just like I've not seen any of the new ones.
All right. Well, my nitpick. Oh my God. Okay. You know what? I'm going to play a clip for us right now.
Okay.
I would like to minimize your involvement in this.
Why? Because I'm an alien? I also happen to be your biggest weapon.
You are an unknown quantity, and this is not personal.
Except that's exactly how this feels.
Kara, when I started living this life, it was just me. I was going up against human threats that I could handle. Then it was metahumans, and I can handle that. Now, I learned that there are multiple Earths, and I was brainwashed aboard an alien spacecraft.
I'm sure that was unnerving.
I don't get unnerved. But when I go up against something new, I push back. Right or wrong, it is who I am and it is what I do. So I'm asking for a little bit of space because I have to draw the line somewhere. I need to claw back a sense of normalcy. Please stay here.
Okay. So there's that scene. Let me rewrite this line. Oliver, I would like to minimize your involvement in this. Kara, why? You're fighting aliens and I'm your biggest weapon. Oliver, because we can't afford the budget of including you and it would be too easy to win if we had you on our team.
Exactly.
I was so upset at this absolutely cheap and poorly written excuse to keep Supergirl out of the show as much as possible. It really sucked. I mean, they kind of showed how powerful she is in Flash when they're doing the little training session and she could just stand there floating. or stand there, hover floating in the air while they're all throwing everything at her and she's just got her arms crossed and smiling at them. And yeah, she is their best weapon, and she probably could have single-handedly taken out half of the alien fight. So I guess in some small way I understand that maybe would have made it too easy, but I don't remember in the comic books Superman being taken out of the fight or anything like that. So it's obviously was a budgetary thing.
Probably. It's probably expensive to make her fly.
Yeah, but even the parts that she was in, she really just kind of, she swooped in. Like, you just saw her come down in kind of like a half-moon arc from one side of the screen to the other, shooting her heat vision. Zoom, zoom, and then she was out. And then you didn't see her until she saved Oliver. So, I mean, she still wasn't really in it. It just, like I said, it was, okay, I understand you can't afford to keep her in there, but come on, writers, come up with a much better way, or a much better reason to have her not involved in the fight as much. Other than Oliver saying, I don't trust you, and I'm just not comfortable with somebody I don't know, being part of this. Like, oh my god, seriously? The car should have just said, you know what, shut up. I'm fighting.
Too bad.
Yeah. So that's my nitpick. That just really sucked.
That's fair. I think that was a lot of people's nitpick.
Alright.
Shall we move on?
We shall move on to...
Quote of the week.
Quote of the week.
Shape out an eagle!
Alright, Harley, so what was our winner for Funny Quote of the Week last week?
Our winner was flashy jewelry.
Any idea why Dark wants this?
All I know is it's never a good idea when your nemesis starts accessorizing.
And he's teamed up with the speed stuff.
Which I think is the one that I voted for.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff. Okay, so, dear listeners, because this was a big special event with multiple TV shows, we decided to up our game a little bit and include more than 4 quotes. I think we got, 5 or 6 for each funny and serious this week?
Yeah, it looks like I think we've got 5. 1, 2, yeah, 5.
Yeah.
At least 5 ones.
There you go. We've got, you got 3 episodes of fantastic TV. It was nearly impossible to narrow it down to 4 quotes, so...
I pretty much just focused on the Legends episode to pull from. Do we have any from a not? I think the fun ones are from the not Legends episodes.
Yeah, one of the drama ones is, but or one of the one of the serious ones is, yeah. So, but let's get to it. What was our first funny quote?
Our first quote is nicknames.
Celebrating July 4th early?
Ray made it for me.
You look like a star-spangled idiot.
Naturally, it comes from Rory, the first one.
Oh, yeah. Classic Rory.
Classic Rory. All right, and what is number 2?
Nerdfest.
This ship is everything.
What type of propulsion system does it use?
No idea.
Oh my god, that construct on the bow looks like it could be some sort of time sphere.
Yeah, no idea.
To operate a ship of the size of Deep Link Nets would have to be.
Oh my god, you'd have to use like a quantum neural chip.
Hey guys, Am and Rory waiting for us on the bridge? Can we just keep moving this along?
This ship is automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky fresh.
Oh my god, that one makes me laugh again. That's just too priceless.
I know. I mean, you can't beat the two of them together. And on the Wave Rider, I mean, that's totally amazing.
Yeah. Alright, what's our third one?
Second tier.
Good work planting Professor Stein's nano weapons, but we still got Dominators all over the country. This looks like a job for Supergirl.
Thanks, Felicity. I'm not the least bit insulted.
Sorry, I meant Supergirl and Flash. This is totally a job for the both of you. That's what I meant, Supergirl and Flash.
You know, this was one cool scene, seeing both of them race at top speed together, planting those devices. I just have to say that. It was a very cool scene. That was pretty cool.
I love that Barry's just like, hello, what about me?
Yeah, exactly. This is all right, and number 4.
Family Matters.
It's like looking into a mirror.
Yeah, you know what's funny? She really kind of looks like my cousin.
Oh, that, I don't know how you're going to vote on any of these this week, because that is probably If that's not the funniest one, that is the most priceless quote.
Exactly. That one's one of those just like in jokes almost, you know?
Uh-huh.
You really had to know like that he played Superman to get that was that funny, but it was really quite funny.
It was so perfect, and so kudos to them to include that on here and just make that little mockery of the whole
Oh yeah.
the whole way things are right now. Yeah, so funny. Okay, and our last funny quote of this event.
Jax and the Bees.
Did you like that title?
Yes. Perfect.
Alright, Gray. Spill. How is it you have a kid? I didn't think I had to explain such matters to you, Jefferson. Come on, you know what I mean.
That's pretty good.
Oh, God.
It's funny because it comes right in front of a serious moment, too, but still.
It does, but it's just, I didn't think I had to explain these things to you. So funny.
Yep.
Well, do you want to move on to the serious quotes?
Definitely do.
Alright, what was our winner?
Our winner last week was Strength of She-Ra.
But I'm gonna turn him over to the authorities, so you don't have to worry about your aberration. Only territory Turnbull's gonna be claiming is a cold, dark prison cell.
Then our work here is done.
You're doing a mighty fine job bearing a burden few men could deal with.
Good thing I'm a woman, then.
Yes, ma'am.
Nice.
Yeah. Good old Sarah getting a little bit of props there.
Yeah. Alright, what's our first one?
First one is called Billie Jean.
Because of my carelessness that this time aberration exists.
She is not an aberration. She is brilliant and funny and a lot like you, just a little less uptight.
Please stop talking about her like this. She is not a real person.
She is a real person. She's your daughter. Wait, when we finish fighting the Dominators, you're gonna go back in time and erase her?
No. I am going to restore the timeline. Unlike your friend Barry, I have the luxury of fixing my mistakes.
Aptly named.
Yes, for those of you who are picking up, that was a Michael Jackson tie-in there.
That was a good quote. I like that. Alright, what's the second?
Weight of the Universe.
If you're such BFFs with the Dominators...
Then why don't you call them off?
We know you sent them packing once before, back in 1951.
That was just a reconnaissance mission.
What brought them back?
You did, Mr. Allen.
He knows who you are.
You threatened the entire universe when you used your powers to upset the normal course of time.
You're talking about Flashpoint? How do you even know about...
They told us.
I made a mistake, okay? I'm not going to let it happen again.
For the past 60 years, we have enjoyed a truce with your so-called Dominators. You broke the truce.
What do they want?
I've negotiated a deal with them. If Mr. Allen surrenders himself, they will leave us in peace. You really want to save the world? Here's your chance.
Yes, here's that quote.
Mm-hmm. The one that really landed all that on Barry's shoulders.
Yeah. Alright, what do we have next?
Third one is team support.
This isn't up for debate. It's not even a close call. Turn myself over to the Dominators, they leave the rest of the world alone. It's simple.
No, it's not simple.
Barry, it doesn't matter what you've done. You can't do this.
It's been an honor to know all of you, to fight alongside of you. Now it's up to you to keep our home safe. Barry, I'm not letting you leave. No offense, Oliver, but you and what army?
This one.
Listen, Red, I don't like you. But when you got a crew, you don't take a hit for the rest.
was actually pretty inspiring. I mean, up until the point that Mick compared us to a bunch of criminals, but...
According to the Dominators, we might as well be.
And maybe they're right. Maybe we do more harm than good, but this is our chance to find out.
We're not letting you sacrifice yourself. There's no way. I don't care if that's what it means to be a hero. You're not a hero to me. You're my friend.
See,
Yeah.
that one, it's not so much a quote, it's kind of a sequence or a scene, I guess, but it's just a powerful moment. It's one of those moments where you're like, yes, they're coming together, they're backing them up. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. Right. Is this number 4?
Yeah, we're at number 4, and it is Rival Concern.
Hey, Barry. Where's Snart? Oh, man, I'm sorry, Barry. I forgot that we never told you.
What happened?
He sacrificed himself. Saved us all. He died a hero. A legend.
Yeah, we talked about that one too.
Yeah, we did. And even hearing it again kind of puts a bit of a tremble in my throat.
Alright. Number 5.
Number 5 is leader material.
I owe you an apology. Keeping you at arm's length was the wrong move, and, well, the truth is that this Earth could probably use a Supergirl.
Well, that's funny, because I was just thinking my Earth could use an Oliver Queen. I know you said you don't get unnerved, but if you did, I think hardship is what makes us stronger. That's probably why these people look to you as their rock.
You guys feeling the group hug?
No.
Come on.
All right.
That's a good one. Yeah. We had to stick a good one in there for them for sure.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And I stuck in a bonus one, Harley. I got one last one, number 6. And tell me if you pick up on this name here, because I thought I was getting kind of creative. Bud's Getting Wiser.
That is creative.
Well, we gotta do this more often. Get together. I mean,
I don't know if the world could take it.
I meant like without the world being threatened.
If the world wasn't being threatened, what would we do? I'm just saying that next time I'm gonna get you.
I'm just saying I beat you twice.
The first time was a tie.
And the second time?
There were no witnesses the second time.
Super speed arrow duels. Our lives aren't exactly normal.
I told Kara that I was looking to reclaim some normal. Thinking on it now, I'm not so sure.
I know what you mean. We both gotta look at what life would look like normal.
It would have been happy.
Not full.
No, nowhere close.
To things not being normal.
To life being full.
I enjoyed that.
And we just finished talking about this scene, so yeah.
We did.
It had to be in there. It's
absolutely.
So I'm almost thinking that these serious quotes are not so much quotes, but they're moments.
Right, they are.
Well, that's it for our quotes, guys. Harley will get those up for you as soon as this airs, and yeah, get to voting.
Yay.
Sorry we gave you some tough ones to choose from.
Yeah, and sorry they're so late, and the podcast is so late.
But we've got some pretty forgiving, understanding fans, I think.
I hope so.
And it is time for the epic crossover feedback.
Feedback. 33 powers, activate!
Well, our listeners came through in full force here. This is definitely a celebratory week. Holy cow, we got lots of feedback.
Yeah, we do. It's going to take us another 30 minutes just to get through this.
I mean, we opened with feedback, and now we've got listener feedback, so... Alright, so let's kick it off with a voicemail from our friend Jeff Gentry, X-Force11.
Hey, Legendaries. This is Jeff, X-Force11, leaving my feedback on the DC Week crossover. I ranked the episodes out of this week in the following way. Legends of Tomorrow 1,
Woo!
Flash 2, Arrow 3, and Supergirl 4. And here's my reasoning behind that. I love Legends because we got to see the full group really working together. It really felt like a crossover with all the different groups coming together to fight this common enemy after everything that had been built in the week. So I really love that. 2, being Flash, because I loved the whole of Justice shout out and the light feel and Barry getting everybody together to fight this menace. So I really enjoyed that. I had fun watching that. Arrow 3. I ranked this 3 instead of 4 because of Supergirl, and I'll get to that. But Arrow, I agree with a lot of what was said on Arrow Squad about this being, the 100th episode, and if you weren't an Arrow watcher, you might not have gotten a lot of these things, but as an Arrow watcher, I enjoyed it, but I think it would have been better served as their 100th episode being a different episode, because they felt that they had to do these shout-outs to the characters rather than really focusing on the alien invasion and the whole trope of being in an alternate reality and considering what might have been. It's just been done so much. I understand the means of storytelling and using it to get characters back, but I just think it's been done so much. I thought it was a decent episode. I enjoyed how they did things and how they confronted the enemies, but just not that great. And then Supergirl, I rated it 4th because it really wasn't a crossover. It was a regular episode with a tag at the end. I mean, they had the Cisco trying to get through a couple times, but it was really a tag at the end, which they, again, played in the beginning of Flash. So you didn't even really need to watch Supergirl for the crossover. And that's disappointing. I think she got underutilized in the whole series. But for a first time with those 4 series, it was pretty good. And I enjoyed the enemy. I think, they give them the potential to come back. So, looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say. I've rambled on too long. Talk to you next time. X-Force11 out.
Well, I think he's pretty much in tune with us. I do love that he gave Legends the top honors.
I do too.
That's awesome. Our show is coming out in front out of this whole thing. But no, thanks, Jeff. Thanks for calling in. It's awesome to have you part of this. I was kind of feeling a little bit bad for you guys over on Gotham, because Gotham didn't get to be part of this at all. I think Gotham's in just a whole different world, and there's no way they could ever tie that in. He brought up a point that I totally forgot about, that even though the Supergirl episode, as disappointed as we are in it, there was twice, or maybe 3 times throughout the episode where you saw the portal open when Cisco was attempting to get through. Yeah. So, I mean, it doesn't mean it was any more part of it, but I did forget about that actually until you mentioned it, it was.
I didn't forget about it, but it wasn't enough of a tie-in. Also, as a non-Supergirl watcher, I had no idea what was going on. And that show, to me, is more heavy on the character relationships. And I have no background or investment in any of their character relationships. And so I was just kind of watching this going, okay, well, I guess that's kind of cool that this very momentous thing happened with her sister, and I guess that's kind of cool that she's figured out she has feelings for this other alien dude. And I'm like, but I don't have any idea what's going on, and I don't really care.
Anyway, well, I'm glad that I'm glad to hear that he also felt similar about Arrow as what me and Brian were feeling at first, so it's just nice to know that we're not the only ones.
I just think I'm in the minority for actually having enjoyed the Arrow episode as much as I did, and for the reasons that I did, because I think those are all the reasons why others didn't actually like it and why it didn't work for people. But I mean, as I was an original Arrow viewer, I only watched The Flash because I was watching Arrow, and I'm like, well, this might be kind of cool. And I only watched Legends because I was watching Flash and Arrow, and I was like, this might be kind of cool. Why don't I do a podcast about it?
I agree with your reasons. It took me the second time watching to get it, so I am on board. I totally agree with everything now. But still. The thing I'm going to take away from Jeff's feedback is that he mostly agreed with everything we said so far, and he gave Legends the top marks, which is very, very cool.
Yeah, agree. Thanks for your feedback.
Yeah. We had a tweet come in from Ken from Chicago, which I wanted to include in here, just because he brought up the funniest point. He just said, "She looks like my cousin." Nice one, Brandon Routh. Truly a super quote.
That was pretty awesome.
So yeah, I mean, it's one of our quote of the weeks, and I just want to make sure I mentioned you because, Ken's constantly tweeting us, so definitely funny. That seemed to be a highlight moment for him.
Yeah. That was pretty funny.
Alright, next we have an email from the Green Butterfly.
Hi, Flash and Harley. Okay, your fantastic show is the final piece of this epic, awesome puzzle, so I'm going to look at the overall story with special emphasis on our dear Legends. Number 1, I am a little disappointed that Supergirl was not tied in better. I thought Project Medusa might have been a good way to defeat the Dominators because it doesn't hurt humans, but they didn't take that route. Oh well.
Good point.
That is a fantastic point and totally would have redeemed me having to watch the Supergirl episode. I know you guys all love that show, but I'm sorry, I just can't get into it.
So you're gonna have to insert a whole bunch more energy. Green Butterfly is like super high positiveness, right?
I know, but
you can't read her so monotone. No way.
I know, but I'm sick and it's late and I just can't. I can't do it.
Because you know how her very beginning would be, "Hi, Flash and Harley."
Well, would you like to continue?
Nope. Go ahead.
Okay.
I'm just giving you a little jab in the ribs.
And just remember that until this morning, I was running 100-degree temperature at a minimum. Anyway. However, I love Kara being on this team. Number 2. In Flash, the main problem with Flashpoint at this moment is emotional fallout with all of his friends. I appreciated that. As Barry confessed to more of the team and tensions got even higher. That the writers took this theme and integrated it into the alien storyline and turned the heroes against one another, really personifying the rage. Number 3. Then seamlessly transitioning to Arrow and the Dream Space, which was a perfect vehicle to bring back all these characters. Oliver is always fighting against his past to be a better man, so I felt this was a perfect metaphor for Arrow. The ghost hologram thing at the end of the episode reminds me of Star Wars, and it was awesome with all those great quotes. Is that better?
There's our Green Butterfly.
And yes, I agree.
Yeah, I mean, but this is her superpower, bringing out all these great points that Oliver is always fighting against his past to be a better man. That also makes the episode a lot more driving home the point.
Yeah.
That it was trying to do. Like, this is Oliver coming full circle now after 5 years of what he's had to deal with. It was great. Yeah. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay. Number 4. Legends. Genius! Let's time travel to the past where Dominators have been before. This is a wonderful plan, and Felicity and Cisco got to go. I only wish they had brought Curtis.
Yeah.
That would have been awesome.
Where was Curtis this whole time? Jeez.
Oh, they left all of the newbies behind.
They did.
Probably a wise decision. I don't know that I would have liked them integrating the newbies. We should probably save that discussion for another day. Don't like the newbies. Anyway. Felicity really was a good person to help Cisco work through his anger with Barry because Oliver lies so much. She has a lot of experience there.
Oh my god, another strong point there, Justina. Yes, Felicity was perfect to help Cisco through that.
And, as Rory pointed out, saved by the nerds. Yay! I love that. They continued to highlight Sarah's captain storyline, showing her heading off to be diplomatic with the president, though that meeting went a different direction, and piloting her ship under extreme duress. We saw Amaya use a new animal power, an elephant, to charge down the aliens, and we got to see Firestorm do an epic transmutation. Nate's getting better at harnessing his steel power, and Ray was flying high in this episode, but I think they forgot to showcase its shrinking power.
That's true, actually. He didn't shrink once.
He didn't. And at this point, Justina, I would just like to say that I absolutely adore your use of emojis. This is fantastic.
I wish we could show this to our viewers. They're all over the screen in her email. It's great.
I know. It's fantastic. Alright, so Mick is finally accepting his new crew and is becoming a real team player, standing in solidarity with the rest of the group. When Barry wanted to turn himself in to end the conflict, Cisco forgave Barry now that he has walked a mile in his shoes and caused an aberration of his own. And Martin. Stein, that is,
Me?
not Flash.
Oh, she actually says that in the email.
Anyway. He is charged with guarding time. Can he restore the timeline and erase his own daughter? Only time will tell, but that is a hard one. My favorite part is in their own way they all admitted that their lives are crazy, but they are also full, and I get the impression they wouldn't want it any other way. I also felt the screen time for each character was pretty equal, giving it a balanced feel. Crossover gets 10, you can't dominate my heroes. Love, Green Butterfly. Nice rating. I like that.
Well, we love you right back, and as far as I can remember, I think she rated every single episode this week a 10 out of 10. She must have been just loving them all.
Yeah, I know. I think she's really excited about it.
Yeah, so thank you so much again, Green Butterfly. Always awesome to have you aboard with us. Good points you brought up, as always. You're always bringing up some good positive points that we touched on for sure.
Absolutely.
Thank you for that. Alright, next is a voicemail from Miss Patty Spivot.
Hey, Flash and Harley, it's Patty Spivot calling in. I just wanted to let you know my thoughts about the 4-show crossover. I thought it was pretty cool. I never have seen one before where they've combined characters from all different shows like that, and I thought it was really neat to see them all together, and I hope it lived up to everybody's hype and expectations. I know there was a lot of buzz about it all week with the 4 shows. I have a little disclaimer because I was probably too sleepy to have watched Legends last night, but I liked it overall. I give it a 7.5 tech support hotlines for my rating. Out of the 4 shows, I thought Flash was actually the best one. It was really edge of your seat like usual. That show's always kind of gets you going and gets you feeling really suspenseful. So definitely liked Flash the best of the 4. I don't really watch Supergirl or Arrow, and I am grateful that I was beside our Flash for all of it, so he could give me the highlights and the history and kind of put the dots together for me. Otherwise, I'd have been probably a little lost, but I did like Legends, probably second out of it. But I thought, honestly, that Felicity and Cisco were the best part of Legends, which doesn't really, I guess it's kind of a bummer, but I thought there would be more to it. Like, it was supposed to be this huge, big, epic crossover, and I got a little bit lost. I, again, maybe was too sleepy, but the ending sort of, I'm looking forward to hearing your guys' interpretation of the ending, because I kind of felt like it was a little undone when they finished. Like, what's to stop the aliens from coming back? Like, I just didn't feel like it had the closure that I was expecting. Oliver and Kara's scene where he basically told her to sit this one out, I didn't quite follow why he thought he was the boss and could just do that, and I didn't quite get why she said okay.
He's all
So I'm looking forward to hearing your thoughts about that one too. I didn't kind of get that scene. It didn't have much relevance to me, and maybe I'm missing something, but just wondered about that. And I was a little disappointed in Nate's suit. I thought it was going to be super cool, and I didn't feel like it was super cool. Just wondering what the general audience thought about that one. Other than that, it was fun to see everyone together, like I said, and yeah, just looking forward to the pod and hearing your guys' thoughts. Okay, good night.
Well, to back her up, as I should, it was quite late when we watched it the first time, and she was quite sleepy and not as alert as she usually is watching it, so I think a lot of it kind of glazed over for her.
Probably.
But yeah, I think she sent in the feedback, and then she's gone back to watch it a second time, so we'll have to get her to give us a nutshell version of her rewatch.
Yeah.
But I think we covered a lot of what she said, although she really wants us to try to explain the ending and what we think is going to happen, because they just kind of left, and what's going to stop them from coming back.
I thought the exact same thing. They just kind of left, and what's to stop them from coming back? Mm-hmm. And then I groaned and said, please don't bring them back.
Well, not that I don't think it's a big spoiler, but for fans of Supergirl, I did see on the news radar that the Dominators will be going to Supergirl next.
She can have them.
Sometime in the new year. So I don't know what the story is behind that or what's going on, but they're going to come back at least for that. Anyway, as for how they left our world here, we kind of touched on it. Something to do with the nanotech, I'm sure, was part of it, and then the fact that our heroes were kicking their butts. I think it was just a fast retreat, and maybe they realized that they're outgunned and can't handle it here, so they left. Whether they'll come back or not, I don't know. I don't remember the story from the comics. I might have to do a little research on that to find out. But yeah, I don't have a 100% concrete answer for you, Patty, as to why that was so abrupt and whether they'll come back or not. Can't really say.
Yep. Sorry.
Yeah. No, but
we're all as lost as you are.
Yeah. But it's unfortunate that you were. I think your view and rating of it is probably one of the lower ones that we've seen. So I really want to see you watch it again and get a second feel for it. But Flash has always been her favorite. It's the first one that I introduced her to out of these superhero shows, and
gotcha.
It was the one that after watching season 1 through on the Blu-ray, she was like, oh, I don't know what's wrong with my shows. Like, after watching Flash, my shows seem so tame. And she watches like Grey's Anatomy and that kind of. So yeah. So I think she's got a little bit more of an attachment to Flash right now, and that's why she liked that one the best.
That's fair.
Wasn't there something else that she asked, or we pretty much covered it all anyway in our...
I think we pretty much covered everything between the podcast and our responses just now.
Okay, cool.
Good. Thanks for your feedback.
Yes, thanks for your feedback, as always, Patty.
But Patty then had a change of heart and went back and watched the episode a second time, being much more alert, and she sent us a second feedback with, I think, much more enthusiasm towards it. So here is her second response.
Hi guys, it's me again, Patty Spivak, calling in. So on several recommendations, I watched Legends again today while I was wide awake, and I have to say I have way more excitement about it. I gave it a way higher rating. I gave it 9 automatic, supersonic, hypnotic, funky fresh fist bumps. I thought it was way more suspenseful. The whole team dynamics were amazing in all the different combinations. Everyone coming together just worked so well together. I just thought it was so much better. I must have completely dozed off through the whole end scene where they don't let Barry go, where they're all like, no, we're not going to let you sacrifice yourself, because that was awesome and all goosebumpy, and everyone had a moment with him, and I have about 10% recollection of the whole end war. So the effects were amazing, and they were just, everybody was just awesome, and the whole, when they turned the metabomb into water, again, I thought was the coolest part. But Barry flying around, running around, putting the nano pain bomb things on the aliens was cool, and Felicity was hilarious with the whole, this is a job for Supergirl, and Barry, like that whole scene was hilarious. I did actually sort of agree with my first feedback, though. The whole scene between Oliver and Kara at the beginning, I still wasn't digging. It was really bugging me, and there was a few scenes that I remembered my feedback for, and I do agree with what I said the first time, but this time I just thought the whole episode was so much better while I was awake. The end where they have all the shots of them all together standing, all superhero-y, looked great. They just were a really great looking super bunch. And the humor throughout, like the "see you later, Dominator," and those little quips all the way through were just funny. So, I don't know, just loved it. And the whole end scene with Barry and Oliver having a beer, I loved the whole end scene, but the cheers that they did to life being full, I just think that was great. Like, it kind of released them from trying to go back to their normal life, and I think that was a kind of a nice turning point moment for them both. I hope, because I know they both have some pretty big demons that they're struggling with. Anyways, just wanted to call in and give a proper feedback because I just liked it a lot better this time. Anyway, I will endeavor to watch this week's episode while I'm awake, and I really much look forward to the podcast, guys. That's me, Patty Spivot, signing out.
So I'm not sure which is a stronger feeling. Either she was feeling guilty for not enjoying it as much, or we all made her feel guilty for not watching it while she was awake.
It might be a little bit of both. I don't know. But I'm glad she ended up enjoying it. I did think it was a pretty good episode myself. So.
Yeah, and if she really missed that much, like upon a second watch, and she's seeing all these scenes that she couldn't recall at all, then she really was tuned out. And the thing is, she's right beside me, and I'm so focused on the show, and just, oh my god, this is awesome, that I'm not noticing that she's got her eyes closed.
That she's half asleep.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But, no, that's good. I'm glad she watched it again and got to find all the wonderful parts that were in there and just see all the great interactions and character moments. And I know she loves Cisco and these, and Mick and these funny guys, and for her to miss out on that stuff was just a shame. So she had to go back and see it again.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad she was able to enjoy it when she watched it when she was more awake, because it really was a great episode, and especially that last scene was like, you can't not like the closing scene with Oliver and Barry.
Oh, exactly. Yeah. And
so good.
I think what she was saying at the end there, like why she really connected strongly to that is that the whole thing about living a full life is because that's how she kind of is in her own life. She doesn't care so much about material things and money and whatever. She's all about the experience and just making sure you have a full life of experience. So I think she really connected to that part of it and wowed her. I think that thing alone is what gave her a 9 out of 10 rating for sure.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, good.
Thank you for your effort in rewatching and sending us in some better feedback according to yourself. Good. All right. Well, moving on. And our next feedback.
I wanted to mention somebody. Her name is Amanda Moon. Hi, Amanda.
Hi.
She had posted a couple things on her Facebook page. She's a brand new member, just signed up, and she just had some wonderful things in her post that I wanted to just say thank you so much for. She was saying how out of all the podcasts she listened to, ours is one of her favorite. She thinks it's the best Legends one out there, and she just loves the way we do it in our segments and all that kind of stuff. So it was really nice, the few things that she said, and I wanted to give her a bit of a shout out for that.
Yeah, thanks, Amanda. That was so nice. Yeah. I read all your posts. I was enjoying reading your comments. Thank you.
Yeah, so there you go. Welcome to the family.
Well, oh, yes, you need a superhero name.
Oh, yes. Considering her last name is Moon, man, we could come up with something cool, lunar-wise or something.
Yeah.
Unless there's something that she really likes that's totally opposite.
That's true.
But yeah. Okay, you gotta come up with a superhero name, Amanda. Give us some ideas of things you like and are interested in, and we'll help you out. Unless you have one of your own, then by all means, let us know. Next, we have a voicemail from Opal Drake.
Hey guys, Opal Drake here. Am I late? I'm probably late. I'm always late. Anyway, it's the big crossover feedback. What a great episode. I think this will probably be my favorite of the crossover. And you think about it, it's a natural place for it too. Legends is used to juggling the big ensemble cast of supers, and it's also the fun show, especially this year. Flash was pretty action heavy. Arrow was a landmark episode of Arrow that just happened to have happened during a crossover, and as a non-Arrow watcher, I am not entirely sure that was the best idea. But Legends was the one that really brought it all together. Hopefully that'll get some of the folks who fell off during last season to get back on the Wave Rider with us Legends. Speaking as a non-Arrow watcher, can someone kidnap Felicity onto Legends or Flash or heck even Supergirl? She is officially one of the great things to look forward to in every crossover. And she was fantastic with Cisco, geeking out a couple of geeks on a time-traveling spaceship. And Nick was the perfect foil with his answer of, I have no idea, to every single question about the Wave Rider. Speaking of Nate, he obviously loves his suit and wants to wear it everywhere, like a kid with his favorite pajamas. For him. I'm hearing some mixed reactions at best to his suits in some of the reviews I've read and looked at. And while I am actually still going to say that I like the visuals of him stealing up in street clothes, I thought the suit looked pretty good. On the other hand, I did kind of imagine a deleted scene where he has to put on his eye makeup before he can put the helmet on. Another deleted scene that I'm working about is Firestorm's transmutation powers. I know that is part of his power set from the comics, and I think maybe we've seen it used on the show once? Maybe?
A couple
but I
times.
think this was the first time it's really been a major plot point. And other than the mask that he had to transmute, nobody acted like it was a big deal. So maybe he's developed it in some scenes that were left on the cutting room floor. Also, I think he should have totally transmuted the Metabomb into something fun, like, I don't know, flowers or glitter. I'd say I am beginning to wonder about how the time travel / time changing mechanics work in the different shows, though. So, look, if Barry changes the timeline with his Speed Force powers, it's like a mug that's been shattered in a 1990s diner by John Wesley Shipp. You can put it back together, but you can never make it whole. But if Stein convinces his younger self to take his wife, quote, all the way to Pound Town. Pound Town? Seriously? I think that's the most risque thing we've heard on any of these shows. He, at least, thinks he can zip back in the Wave Rider and fix the aberration. So everything is just how he left it in 2016. And it's not a huge deal, and it's not like it's ruining the show for me or anything, but it's an issue that is and has been floating out there for a long while now. We've got two shows here that feature time travel pretty prominently, so I think they should really address this somehow. A few final quick thoughts. Star Labs, classified research site, still has that same top-notch security. I'm beginning to think one of Star Labs' businesses is providing superhero security, as the DEO and the Wave Rider seem to be just as easy to walk into.
Good point.
That old white guy from earlier. Now he's a young white guy. Who is this guy? Seriously though, I'm actually curious if he's somebody from the comics. Amaya got a new animal, which is awesome, and apparently elephant equals roundhouse kick? I know this is becoming my personal hobby horse with the show, and hey, can Amaya have a horsepower where she, I don't know, punches people? And I like Amaya as a character, but it'd be nice to see a tighter correlation between the animal and the effects, like when she did the owl thing and got enhanced vision. And finally, Pound Town? Really, Jax? Pound Town? Thoroughly enjoyed the episode and the crossover in general. I will give it 9 out of 10 visitors from outer space. Cheers, guys. Open drink.
Oh man, that's probably your most entertaining feedback you've ever sent us.
I love your sense of humor. It cracks me up.
Yeah, great sense of humor there, Open Drake. Oh, Pound Town, yeah. I actually forgot about that until you brought it up again, and that's priceless.
I did too. Alright, well, I jotted down a few comments. Do you have a few comments too?
Well, yeah, I'll let you rhyme some off. I just wanted to say, like, I think Opal Drake seems to be very, very in tune with us and our way of thinking on this show, because 95% of the time his feedbacks are all about stuff that we have talked about throughout our show. He seems to be hitting on all the same points. He seems to be thinking along the same lines. And that's pretty cool. That's cool that he is in that wave of thought patterns is like us. So that's cool.
That's true, yeah.
So what do you have?
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm still giggling over a lot of his comments.
Pound Town?
Oh dear. Okay. So I wanted to address his comment about the transmutation powers. And they were a little more featured in season 1, because 1, we got to see them actually playing with how to learn how to use them, and
Right.
2, featured in the season 1 finale pretty prominently. Again, they turned the asteroid to water.
Right.
So, yeah. So we've seen it before, and then we saw it downplayed a little bit, but in the 80s episode, that was the 80s episode, right, where they went to the White House?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. When he stopped the bullets or slowed down the bullets, I think that was another form of transmutation.
Yeah.
Because remember from the effect, I was very confused and I thought it was time travel, but it wasn't time travel. It was really their form of, I don't know, I think they were manipulating the air or something. So that one was very downplayed, but
Yes.
that was just to address that comment.
Well, I think he's practicing and learning off the show, so to speak.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on that we're not witnessing, and that's probably one of the things.
Yeah, exactly. I think a lot of things are happening off camera. And then we've talked about this in the past about how there's no consistent time travel rules between the two shows, and there's less consistency on Flash itself. I feel like Legends at least is establishing their rules and sticking to their rules. Now when you throw Flash in the mix, there's a whole nother ballgame. You've got time race when you want them and no time race when you don't need them. You've got time remnants conveniently, and there's a lot going on.
Well, let me just say, because at the one point I jotted down I wanted to address of his was he was confused between how Barry goes back to change time and we get a new timeline, and now Stein wants to go back and fix the aberration, and how he was confused on the difference or the similarities between them. And we discussed this heavily in our season 1. I think it was in our recap episode. And throughout the season we were trying to figure this out, and if you remember, we deduced that the Legends, when they make changes in the past, it's not immediate, it's not instant. It takes time for it to ripple through and have effect. And I can't remember how did we term it before it becomes solid?
Yeah, it takes time to cement.
Yeah, it takes time for it to cement. Depending on how severe of a change it is, the bigger the severity of it, the faster it cements. But no matter what, they always have some amount of time to go back and alter it or fix it or put it back to the way it was before that cements in time, and hence nothing will have changed. So I think that's what Stein is struggling with, is it has enough time passed that he can't change it anymore. Should he go back and change it? And if he does, is it within that time frame before it starts to cement in the future?
I feel like it's already cemented in the future, but that's just me.
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain, because he was confused at the differences between how Stein wants to change the past and how Flash changes it.
Okay.
And so I was just revisiting how we had figured it out in season 1, that when the Legends change something, there's a small fraction of time that they have to go back and change it before it submits.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Hey, what did you have next after that?
The last thing I jotted down was, he was wondering about this Agent Smith. And so I have no idea. Does this Agent Smith guy tie into the comics at all?
The only Agent Smith I know is from the Matrix trilogy, so I don't.
I know, right? Me too.
That we will have to call on Karen over on Made of Steel and Gotham Undercover, because she has the comic book background. I don't know about Agent Smith. I guess we could look him up.
Either.
That will have to be some research, maybe. You're pretty good at research, are we?
I am pretty good at research when I remember to do it.
Yeah, so I don't have a definitive answer for you there, Overbrick. I apologize. But what I do have for you, you had asked about a couple Flash comics to possibly read that you might be interested in, and you had also asked about getting some back episodes recommended on Damien Dark. Harley's still working on that because she's been down and out, really sick the last week, so she hasn't got that done yet. We're going to try to have that list for you by next episode. But I do have a few Flash issues to suggest if you want some great reads that tie in a lot to what the show is pulling from. One of my personal favorites is Flash Rebirth. And it's the story of when Barry Allen returns after being thought dead for years. And that's one of my personal faves that actually comes right before, or shortly before the Flashpoint story starts. And Flashpoint is the actual comic book version of this story, which you might be able to find in a collected big book version of it that has all the stories, because Flashpoint, it happened over quite a few issues of Flash, but then it also spread into Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman and Aquaman. They all had parts in it as their things were happening to their own story arcs due to Flashpoint. So you might be able to find a big collected volume of it, and it was really cool. It's really neat to see what they did with it in the comics and then see how they're translating that on a TV show. And then if you haven't seen it, my next big recommendation is Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie based on the Flashpoint story. It is friggin' awesome. If you love the Flash and want to know anything about him, that gives you a good dose of his history, a good dose of who Barry Allen is right out of the comics, and it's animated beautifully. It's the most dramatic, serious Flash story I've seen, and out of all the DC animated movies, it's one of the heaviest and hard-hitting ones. So if you haven't seen that, check that one out, and then compare it to what they're doing on the TV show, and you'll see where the TV show is pulling from and where they're not able to pull from. It's really, really cool. So, Flash Rebirth, the Flashpoint storyline, if you can get in a collected volume, and Flashpoint Paradox, the animated movie. That's what I got for you this time.
Alright, Harley, so next on our feedback list, we got one in from Killer Frost.
Alright, she says, "Hey folks, what a fun week of television. However, 4 shows makes feedback difficult, but I'll give it a shot. I'll apologize for the length now. Apologize for the length of our podcast now.
I don't.
I give the crossover as a whole 8 out of 10 Heat Vision cooked turkeys. This episode in particular, a 9 out of 10 references to Brandon Routh's Superman."
Yeah, so awesome.
That was good. Oddly enough, it was the excellent Arrow episode that dropped my rating. But the dream sequence was brought down by a very mediocre crossover storyline. I think separating the 100th episode from the crossover would have worked better. Some of my other comments include...
Yeah, before we go on, that's something that's been talked about a lot. I even talked about it with Brian over on Arrow Squad and stuff, that if they had separated the 100th episode and made it standalone on its own, I think that would have been even more powerful of an impact to try to mix it in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was definitely my favorite of the 3, but I loved it personally. You're right as far as crossover. It was very, very light on crossover, so I'm wondering if maybe that's why I loved it. I don't know. It was just I loved everything to do with Arrow, but I probably shouldn't keep going on about that.
No,
We've talked about that enough.
As an Arrow episode, it was absolutely wonderful. It was a beautiful, beautiful episode. So
it was great. But,
okay.
Some of her other comments include, for Supergirl, can you really call that part of the crossover? Nope.
Yeah, we've covered that. Almost every feedback so far.
I know. The Flash, McRory and Supergirl need their own spin-off. We could call it Pyro and the Skirt, aka Pinky and the Brain. That's amazing.
Pyro and the Skirt. That is hilarious.
The race between Barry and a brainwashed Kara? I don't pronounce that right. Anyway.
I think it's Kara.
Kara was quite the nifty way to end the mind control. Everyone ganging up on Barry felt odd.
I'm gonna have to call you Cat Grant because she never pronounces it right either.
Oh. Oh.
She always calls her Kara.
Oh, yeah, I got nothing here. To be fair, I don't watch the show, so in my defense, I shouldn't know how to pronounce it.
Well, now you've been learned.
Thank you. All right, so
yeah, ganging up on Barry, it felt a bit strange, but I think they're just all a little bit upset with him for constantly lying and doing things that he keeps telling them not to do, yet he goes and does them himself, so.
Yeah.
You can't blame them all, really.
I don't. I mean, sometimes Barry can be a little self-centered, but given the circumstances, wouldn't you do the same thing?
Yeah, and I'm going to defend my boy. He's still learning. He's not the Barry Allen who's in his 30s or 40s and he's full of wisdom and lots of training. He's still young. This is 3 years in. He's still figuring a few things out, and
right.
I think he's coming along.
I agree. He's definitely making progress, for sure. Mm-hmm. All right, her Arrow comments are Stephen Amell, Kitty Lotz, and Willa Holland were amazing. Tommy working as a doctor in Chicago was a fun shout-out to Colin O'Donnell.
Who's the actor, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I thought that was funny. I actually, until I heard some of the other discussions, I didn't realize that actor was on was it Chicago Med?
Yeah.
So I completely, that went over my head at the time of the episode. Completely didn't get it.
Me too. But it's neat of the show to tie it in like that for him.
Yeah, I liked that. Now that I know that was supposed to be like a cool little Easter egg, I love it even more.
Mm.
Okay, so she has several Legends comments, so I'm gonna kind of just try and run through those, and then maybe we can respond back to them.
Okay.
Legends of Tomorrow was great. What was with Oliver dismissing Kara? I understand from a writer-director perspective that benching characters in such a big ensemble is necessary. However, why was it okay for Oliver to sideline her without consulting any of the other team members? As Kara said, she was their biggest asset. An elephant. Anyone else disappointed in the result? I was picturing something more like a bowling ball knocking over a bunch of bowling pins. Gotta love the geek power. Was anyone from the tech support on the stage at the end? It's a bummer they couldn't get Linda Carter as president on this Earth. The socializing at the end may have been my favorite part of the episode. There's just something about watching those guys hang out with each other that makes the show more relatable and fun to watch. Haven't had a chance to rewatch and I missed the explanation, but why couldn't Steel and Vixen use their powers to escape? Okay, those are all of her comments.
Oh my God, Killer Frost, you bring up some fantastic points. I think I want to touch a little bit on all of them because those are some of the best points about our episode.
There are, yeah. A number of them we have tackled, but we can just kind of touch on them real quick. What do you got?
I totally concur about Oliver dismissing Kara. She's their biggest weapon. Yeah, that whole thing, just irked me so much, but I think we covered that in my nitpick. An elephant. Anyone else disappointed with the result? I'm assuming she's talking about Vixen and her powers, and it's exactly what I had said earlier, that an elephant should probably charge through stomping on people. So yeah, I've never seen a Kung Fu elephant before, except in Kung Fu Panda.
There you go. Yeah, I was going to say, it's not an elephant, is it? It's a panda?
Yeah. Linda Carter would have been awesome if they had squeezed her in as president on this Earth as well. That would have been really, really cool.
Is that a Supergirl reference?
Linda Carter, she played Wonder Woman on the old 1970s TV show.
Oh. Okay.
And they just casted her on Supergirl to play the president.
Oh. Okay. Okay.
So that would have been cool to bring her over as well. So yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah. Totally. Socializing at the end, I think that has turned out to be everybody's favorite part of the entire crossover. It was how they ended it with Barry and Oliver hanging out.
Definitely.
Talking.
Yeah, definitely.
And her question about Steel and Vixen, why they couldn't use their powers. What was it about that room? There was some kind of dampening. What was that again, Harley?
No, they got shot with tranquilizer darts.
Tranquilizers.
Which, right. I don't know why that affects Vixen, because her powers come from her amulet, but I think we're supposed to hand wave that away. and just say they got shower tranquilizers so they couldn't use their powers,
Well,
regardless of where they come from.
Didn't I kind of try to explain that somehow because you were questioning that earlier, and I had said that I think she still has to be some type of meta, even though the necklace grants her power, she has to have something within her to be able to use that power.
Oh, does she? I don't know.
Well,
Did we
that's
touch
what I was
on
trying
that?
to guess. I don't think it's just pure magic. I think it has something to do with her bloodline.
Okay.
Stuff.
Well, that would make more sense, because I just thought it was pure magic. You know how, like, Damien Dark, I mean, he just has the totem and now he's magical. Like, I thought it was the same kind of deal.
Could be. I mean, you're not wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not saying
No,
that
I know.
absolutely for sure. I was just trying to explain around a little bit to
That would,
ease everybody's
yeah,
think about it.
exactly. That would at least make that make sense. I mean, Steel, that makes sense. It interferes with this power. Okay, I can take that. Vixen, I'm not so sure about that, but.
Right. Oh,
Alright. Well, and she had just one little comment in closing. She said, "This week was a ton of fun, and you really can't do much with my biggest complaint. There were too many characters and not enough time." I'm out. Until next time, Killer Frost.
Yeah, they should have made this like a massive, 6-hour event. 2 hours per episode would have been cool.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine trying to prep a podcast for that? We've talked almost that long already.
I know. For us it'd be difficult, but man, the viewing pleasure would have been fantastic.
I know. That would have been great.
Cool. Well, thanks, Killer Frost, for sending in that great feedback email with some great points.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Who do we got up next? We got an email from Denny, the unnamed one.
It's still Denny.
All right. So here's Denny's email. He says, "Hello, Wonder Twins. In the words of Felicity, best team up ever." The crossovers were awesome, and the Dominators are interesting. Never heard of them before, but they definitely have given our heroes and legends quite the trouble. Interesting that they came due to Flash's Flashpoint incident, but how do they know a Flashpoint to begin with? Yes, I questioned that too.
I think a lot of people have questioned that.
But I also tried to come up with an explanation of that as well. That possibly they could be like the Time Masters, have some type of technology or whatever that allows them to see changes.
Yeah, they've got to have something. There's got to be a way they knew.
Because there's no other way. How could
Exactly.
they know? Seeing the team clash with the Dominators was great to watch. Also caught the reference to Brown and Rowe's Superman Returns. Yep, good catch, Denny. Once again, Mick has the greatest one-liners, and it looks like he and Sarah have their eyes on the president. I thought there were a couple things I found confusing, such as Vixen's powers. I thought Vixen's powers were from her totem. Huh. How does the tranquilizers affect the totem's powers? Well, we just talked about that, Denny, so hopefully that eases your pain there as well. Also, how did our Stein duo make so many of those devices in such a short time? I don't know if the Wave Rider's replicator would be able to replicate so many in such a short time. Well, that's exactly what we pegged as being
Yeah, that's our theory.
Their ability, yeah. That's what we pegged as giving them the ability to do so many. And I don't know, if the replicator made that hat pretty darn fast, so.
That's true.
I'm imagining it's like a super futuristic version of a 3D printer, and those aren't, those are fairly fast nowadays, so yeah,
And they're teeny tiny little nano devices, so.
Right. So
it's possible.
Much. Mm-hmm. Alright, with Kara being able to travel between parallel Earths now, without needing Cisco or the Flash, there will be no excuse for her not to come to Earth 1. Definitely hoping to see more crossovers like this, and I doubt this will be the last we've seen of the Dominators. From Still Denny for now. Well, I think he's forecasting the future there, because they did announce the Dominators are headed to Supergirl.
And I say they can have them.
Yes, so you said. But I do agree with them that now that Kara can come at any time she wants or needs, I think that is cool. They better bring her around a couple more times.
I'll allow it. I'm just kidding. No, she'd be cool to have on over. I'm good with the cameos and the crossovers. The show that I watched wasn't enough to pull me in.
Of Supergirl?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Well, we'll see. We'll see what they do. I mean, if she comes to visit our shows, you'll be okay with that.
Yeah, for sure. That'd be cool.
Yeah. Alright, well, thanks, Denny. Another good email, as always.
Yeah, he always has some good insights.
Yeah. And next up, we've got, an email from Kelly, the master wordsmith.
Oh, Kelly, where have you been?
Yeah, where have you been? All right, will you take her away? We haven't heard from her for a while.
All right, I'm back. I know you missed me in my commentary. Of course we did, Kelly.
We totally did.
Since we were rewarded for being fans of one or all of the shows, I thought I would give awards to them. I love where this is going.
Okay, this is cool, yeah.
All right. Best crossover episode, Arrow.
Oh, she agrees with you.
I loved Arrow, but not because of the crossover parts.
Yeah, that's interesting how she words it like that.
Yeah. Best one-liners, Cisco. Best throw-up, Felicity. Best head slap moment, Barry, always. Best team captain, Oliver.
As he should be.
Agree. Best nickname, Skirt. Definitely the best nickname. Best mini team, Oliver and Barry.
Yep.
Best guest star not present, Tommy. Best tissue moment, Oliver saying goodbye to his parents.
Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah. Best battle scenes, Legends of Tomorrow, the entire episode. Agree. Best speech given, Selfless Barry. Yeah, that was a good one. He's got some good stuff. Best superpower, Firestorm transmuting.
That was a tense moment, yeah.
That was awesome. Best team up, Cisco and everyone.
He has got chemistry with everybody. It's just, it's awesome to watch.
It is, I know. I love Cisco. He's my favorite. Alright, lastly, every crossover should end up with Barry and Oliver in a bar or seeing who's the better superhero.
Darn right.
Yeah. See you in the funny pages, Master Wordsmith, aka Kelly.
Oh, that was a fantastic list, Kelly. Real creative idea to kind of nutshell the whole thing like that.
Yeah, I love that. That was fun.
But we regret to inform you that you have lost your reigning title as most feedbacker.
Most frequent contributor.
What's that?
Most frequent contributor.
I can never get that right.
It's a running joke. Just go with it.
Yes. But we're glad to have you back, of course.
Yeah, we missed you.
And we've got one last one, I believe, from Davia.
Okay, Davia says, the crossover was fun. The 3 shows, The Flash, Arrow, and Legends, felt more like one long episode in a good way. I liked the setup of Martin's changing memories in previous Legends episodes, only to be resolved on Flash, and then have Martin accept his daughter in Legends. I agree. Yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, they did do that really well.
And I wasn't expecting them to have that reveal on The Flash. I was really surprised when we got that and the answer to the message so quickly and on the Flash episode since they'd been introduced on our episodes.
Yeah, but I think what this crossover was trying to do, it was kind of tying in wherever the characters are now on which show, it was trying to tie in their origin where we first got introduced to them.
That's true.
Which I thought was very touching. It was nice to see that, Martin Stein came to us in Flash and he was there for quite a bit of the one Flash season, so.
Yeah.
It was cool.
Yeah, no, I liked it. I just, I thought it was interesting that they chose to do that. Okay. So she continues, for Legends specifically, where was Jax? Where is he when all the plans are being made? Except for when he was Firestorm, he's barely around. Also, as a rule, Captain Sarah is an asset for Legends, but they barely use her in this episode. I don't understand why she didn't go back to the 50s. This Legends episode felt more like it was a completion of Arrow.
Kind of. She's got a point there.
Yeah, she does. I didn't really think of it that way, but now that she's kind of mentioned it, I totally see it.
Yeah. Well, if you step outside of the Legends episode and look at it, it really wasn't a pure on Legends episode. It was more, like she says, Arrow, but also a lot of Flash.
It was full crossover. With Legends
our guys didn't really stand out, or didn't, weren't separated from the group in any way.
That's true, yeah. I definitely felt like Flash felt like a Flash episode. Arrow was clearly an Arrow episode, but Legends felt like full-on crossover.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. But she's also said Jax wasn't around too, and that kind of is also true. And until he was flying around as Firestorm, he only came in the odd scene here and there to have one quick line, and then he was out again.
Yeah, I think they were kind of shying away from some of our newer characters, and by newer I mean like they've got their start on Legends. I mean, I know we had a lot of like Citizen Steel, but he's kind of been the fan favorite. So I don't know. Yeah, it was a little odd.
Well, it's also the same. They did the same for Wally West as well. He barely got to be part of this crossover at all.
Yeah, that's true. He wasn't really in it.
Yeah, exactly. So, nor were the new characters on Arrow. They also weren't included really, in just a tiny bit.
I didn't miss them.
Yeah.
I was glad that they weren't included. I could do without them, I think, but...
Can you imagine? That'd just be way too much. Again, they'd have to make a 2-hour episode to try and include everybody and give everybody a decent amount of time to make them seem worthy of being in the episode.
Agree, yeah, they definitely would have. Well, that wraps up her email.
Alright, well thanks, Davia. Nice to hear from you as always.
Yeah.
Well, Harley, that is it for everything crossover related.
Yeah, there was a lot to discuss.
A lot, but we have to thank everybody, all of our feedbackers, all of our fellow podcasters on the other shows for helping make this a huge, fun, successful crossover week. We did our best in including all of that for you guys, so I hope you enjoyed the show.
Yeah.
And Harley did apologize earlier for this being so late, so we've got another show coming for you this week, because Legends is on in 2 days. It's the mid-season finale.
Yeah, that should be exciting.
Yeah, I think we're off for 6 weeks. What was it, the end of January 24th or something like that we're back?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, and to remind everybody, it'll be returning on a new night. It'll be on Tuesday nights after Flash.
That's true. New time, new night.
Yeah, so till then, we will talk to you guys in a couple weeks. We hope you've enjoyed this crossover event as much as we have.
Yeah, it was awesome.
It was awesome. Alright, Harley, you go get some rest, get yourself back on track, back to normal.
I will do that.
Because life is too full.
Exactly.
Alright, you take care, and we'll talk to you in a couple days, Harley.
Alright, this is Harley, signing off.
And Legendaires, this is the Flash. Talk to you soon.